And we're back. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime. If you're just coming in now, hey, I came in a little bit early so we can get to this horrific, and I mean horrific case. All right, guys, do me a favor. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. Also, I've got a goal set up today, and I got to tell you, first, let me tell you, this case is brutal, brutal AF. I mean, okay, so listen, when I say I'm a true crime junkie, I really mean it. I get obsessed with these cases. I start digging into them, and then I get obsessed and I dig up everything I possibly can, and then I have to cut it down into a couple of hours and try not to say things like a little girl was strangled and she fought this monster off like 100 men. And this was caught on body cam, or the not body cam, dash cam footage of a FedEx driver. I'm so mad at this case. I'm so mad about this case. I'm very disgusted by it. I wish I didn't have to cover it, but I feel like I do. All right. So come on in. Let me say hello to everybody. I know people are going to say, wait a minute, I was late. You started early. What's up, Karen? Good to see you. Rose, how you doing? Kimberly's in the house. Kel, how are you? Royal Bitch X, just love the name. Holly, Mama Pearl. Where's Tiff, my girl, at? Good to see you, Amethyst. If it's okay, I'm gonna read something off today that you sent me. Let me know if that's cool. What is up, everybody? Lady for Justice, how you doing? Sadie's mama, much love. Now, prayers to everybody that is in chat, saying prayers for not only this case, but for other cases and for those that need prayers. All right. I don't want to get too many people. I don't want to put people's business out there. I didn't realize until today that this made national news. Oh, yes, it did, Amethyst. Yes, it did. And this was no accident. What's up, Kim? Good to see you. The Jab, how are you? Edith, my girl. Mama Pearl's in the house. All right, listen, before we get into any of this stuff, I just finished booking my reservations for Las Vegas Crime Con 2026. All right. So got step one done. Got step done one. We're driving the RV out there. Now I'm not gonna publicly tell anyone where we're gonna stay, but we're going to Crime Con. And I booked a place. I'm waiting to find out if we're going to get a table or a booth for new creators. If not, then we're all just going to go to Crime Con and do the thing like tourists do. See the people at Crime Con, interact with each other, and well, hang out with the family. And there's going to be a party on Saturday, or I'm sorry, I don't know if it's Saturday, but it is May 30th, right? Crime Con is May 29th through 31st. So, second day in, we're having a party, baby. Again, whether I get a booth or not, I'm still going. I just booked my reservation and I'm waiting to buy the really expensive tickets. Right. So, prayers for everybody. We are going. No. I have a lot to say about this case, Amethyst. Oh, my goodness. And so much to bring to the table. So, listen. Felicia says number 24. Good evening, morning, afternoon, J Mod. Wait, what just happened? Oh my goodness. Hold on. Some this ad said, I'm just gonna start playing it. My mom says, hi, Felicia. And I said, bye, Felicia, in the best way possible. Thank you for hitting that like, my friend. All right, I know. CrimeCon 2026. I've been wanting to go to CrimeCon for years, even before I was a creator or anything. So now I get to go hang out, spend time with the family, and meet new people. All right, so come on in, guys. Does anyone know what the hell I'm talking about today? FedEx driver pleads guilty in the Athena Strand case on day one. Will he get the death penalty? Now, the death penalty is absolutely on the table. And now we're going to get started because I cannot contain myself anymore about this case. All right. So I know we're a little bit early here. I did that on purpose so that I would have plenty of time. All right. Holly said, I've never heard the inmates and Texas prisoners are already asking family members, what's the status on this guy? He's gone. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Hey, do what you want with him. I got to tell you guys something. I don't think he's going to get the death penalty, and I'll tell you why when we get there. All right. I'm glad you're here with us, Sheila, because we're not going over the case. I hope people understand that. I mean, we're not going over the trial. I'm going to show you bits and pieces, but we're going to start from day one. We have to go back to 2022 to figure out what is happening in 2026 during trial, day one, opening statements, and this monster that's caught on camera footage with the little girl. That's rare that you see that. Look at that. He kidnapped Athena Strand, and she's right there on his dash cam. Now, that same dash cam also got him strangling and brutally beating this little girl because she fought off like the strength of 100 men. Okay, so this monster, we're going to get into who he is, what he is. We're going to talk about his ex. I'm going to show you some social media, and then we're going to get into all the trial stuff and what's happening, etc., etc. All right. So come on in, guys. I mean, this little girl's not only beautiful, but it hit so close to home for me, and I bet you as well. FedEx, guys, let me just tell you a quick story, and the story is in the justice for Athena Strand. All right. Again, trigger warning. Very much trigger warning. However, the reason it hit so close to home is because anybody, and I mean any one of you, could be affected by a case like this. This guy, this monster literally was arrested in his FedEx official outfit. All right. He's a FedEx driver. Athena Strand was just waiting for Christmas gifts to come in, specifically a Barbie doll set. And what's so sad about this is that Barbie doll set, they still have. I believe that was delivered, unless they took it off of his train, but they did show the package that was supposed to come on there. And guys, that was his last delivery of that day. All right. So I'm going to tell you a story. Holly's getting us kicked off. Thank you, Holly. A lot of people don't know I'm early, so I know people are coming in and like, what are you talking about, Jay? I just wanted to make sure I talked to you about CrimeCon and this heartbreaking, horrific case, guys. Trigger warning. Yes, I came on a bit early, just a few minutes. Oh, Sheila, I can't even. This is just tearing me apart. I cannot fathom. And I'm already like that. I'm an overprotector, but I cannot fathom what happened to this little girl and the family. And this little girl, Athena, knew what was going to happen to her. She asked this monster, Tanner, if he was going to kidnap her. She asked him several other questions as well. She knew what was happening and she fought for her life. This was a guy that comes to your door, guys, and delivers Amazon or FedEx packages. All right. Now, the father's suing FedEx because this was on the dime of FedEx. All right. So let's get into the story. I was just waiting for you guys to roll on in. We're 10 minutes in. If you guys miss it, you'll go back. All right. So let me just give you let me tell you about the day Athena Strand was kidnapped, the day she went missing. Right now, this is in Paradise, Texas, you guys. Go back to November 30th, 2022. All right. That's right after Thanksgiving. Christmas is coming. We're ordering our presents. I order all of my stuff right on Black Friday. So right about time, she's waiting for a package. 7-year-old Athena Strand vanished. Guys, she just disappeared from her father's rural property in Wise County. Now, after a FedEx delivery afternoon, driver arrived that afternoon. All right, now I'm just cutting to the chase, but I'm going to tell you what happened that day. Now, they didn't connect the two at first. However, the driver, Tanner Horner, he later confessed, and you guys are gonna hear this with me for the first time. It just came out today. He confessed that he struck Athena with his truck, panicked, and then abducted her. And out of fear that she'd tell her father, he strangled her, killed her, and dumped her body in a remote area near Boyd, about 9 miles away. Now, of course, his story is not true at all. And we see it right there. We see this little angel, Athena Strand, standing there while he's driving, looking scared and confused. Now, who's Athena Strand? She's a 7-year-old. She's a 7-year-old little girl from Paradise, Texas, whose disappearance in the late 2022 became one of the most widely followed child abduction cases in the country. Right? There's actually Athena's Law. Okay, so if you don't know about this case at all, the one good thing I could say that they're making changes is the Athena's Law. All right, and of course we're going to talk about all of that stuff. And this guy doing that. Hold on, sorry guys. I paused this ad and it just keeps on coming. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Now, here's the problem. They don't do background checks. This guy was already an accused rapist by his ex. All right. But first, I'm going to say hello to MM Clark. I'm glad you're here. I was thinking about you yesterday. You probably were here, but we're in the bushes yesterday. Big hugs to you. Enjoy your dinner, my friend. All right, so listen, let's continue. They made an Athena's Law, which I'm grateful for, and that makes it so that you don't have to wait to have a description of the vehicle and some of the other things that Amber Alert does. All right, this is a special circumstance. You do not think ever that, well, I do. I'm a true crime junkie, as you, as my mom, as I do not, unless we're in my sanctuary place, I do not let any children just hang out or play outside out front. No way, no how. This little girl was playing out front. She's 7 years old, waiting for her Barbie doll package, and she goes missing. She's at her dad's house. Okay, 7 years old, loves pink like little girls do, loves Barbies. Now, 1,000-foot view, Athena was staying with her father and stepmother in Wise County, Texas, when she vanished on November 30th, 2022. Of course, she was described by family members as bright, kind, and imaginative, a child who loved dolls and I mean loved, to play outdoors. All right. So authorities pieced together a timeline through digital evidence and Horner's own statements. He was delivering a Christmas gift to Athena's home when the incident occurred. Now, after she went missing, her stepmother reported her disappearance, prompting an Amber Alert. Now, they didn't originally or initially connect it with the FedEx driver, but 2 days later, my friends, Athena's body was found, and it was found in the water. All right. It was found in the water, and it was brutal. Okay. So, guys, trigger warning again, please. This little girl, Athena, cannot speak. We have to speak for her. Now, this is the monster that took her. This is the monster that you're going to hear give a false confession to. The confession is for his own, to save his own ass, essentially. And it's not even the right things that happen. However, I do have to say, he did lead them to her body. And you know what his defense is, my friends? That he's autistic. All right. So listen, Horner was arrested shortly after the discovery and charged with capital murder and aggravated kidnapping. Prosecutors later revealed that DNA evidence linked him to the crime, and that video, guys, the video in the FedEx truck with the audio. Now, guys, the FedEx truck captured Athena alive and alert before her death. Now, that's contradicting his claim that she was injured by his vehicle. Now, in April 2026, let's fast forward to now, Horner pled guilty in a Tarrant County courtroom ending the guilt phase of his trial and moving directly into the sentencing phase. Now, prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. This is in Texas. Now, while his defense argues for life in prison, citing that his autism diagnosis and mental health history shouldn't give him the death penalty, jurors have been shown the evidence. They're seeing it now. You guys are going to see some of that with me. It's not a trial that's happening now. If you're confused and you're looking at trials, they are in the sentencing phase. They went straight from guilty, day one opening statements, to guilty plea, to now deciding if this monster gets the death penalty. Now, the sentencing phase is going to have everything that a trial would have: Athena's family members, investigators, experts, images, videos, pictures, etc. All right. So it's going to have the whole deal. That's what we're doing. Let me show you a clip, and then I'm going to go back and forth showing you who this monster is. If you look down on the right, Tanner Lynn Horner, the man who raped this girl at 16, 8 years ago. He raped this girl at the age of 16, and then he went along to, well, capital murder of Athena Strand, a 7-year-old girl. Now, this is the girl that was raped from him, Shay Marie. And she says, I hope the family gets the justice they deserve. I hope he rots. And I hope that everyone who didn't believe me when I've talked about it for 8 fucking years does now. Fuck you all, she says. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna dole down what she has to say, because rightfully so. Rightfully so. This monster's going around using excuses about his autism and his mental health. I'm going to show you exactly who he is. His mask is coming off, my friends. MM Clark, thank you so much. Love you too, girl. Big hugs. Tell us what you're cooking for dinner. Death penalty or prison justice, all right? Either one will be cool with. Yeah, I want to read this statement, by the way. He's using autism as a defense. And I got to tell you, when you listen to him in the interrogation room, he does sound really slow. So I would question his capability of, I would, if I didn't know he was autistic, I would question his mental capacity and capability. He's kind of slow and, goofy, but he was a FedEx driver and he worked there just fine without getting fired. As a matter of fact, he also was a FedEx driver, but he thought he was a rapper and a singer and a creator on YouTube, my friends, which I'm going to show you in a bit. Now, KCC, good to see you, my friend. Amethyst says, when his ex was pregnant, we were worried about the baby. Both Tanner and his ex were not all mentally there. Yo, Mab, what's up? All right, so I'm going to read this statement real quick since you dropped it down. You're saying, okay, I'm assuming. Listen, I got a message a little bit ago and it says, I saw that you're covering the Tanner Horner case. I call it the Ashley, I don't want to call it by that. This keeps coming. Oh, no. Hold on, guys. I don't know why it keeps doing it. Let me turn the volume down. Okay, Athena Strand. I'm sorry. I'm like, let me say this right. Athena Strand. Okay, there's a lot going on in this. Hello, Sandy. Good to see you, my friend. My ad keeps playing. It keeps starting to play. Mab, have you heard about this case? Okay, so listen, guys. We're in the sentencing phase. Somebody messaged me today and said, I wanted to give you some inside info on this guy, Tanner. Back in late 2020, he worked with me in Fort Worth. Don't want to say where, as the job was never mentioned. I found where the job's mentioned. You guys will hear it. It's like a placement company that put him in there. Now, this person says, I'm no longer at this location as I moved in December of 2021. However, his girlfriend was working there as well and was pregnant with his child. I agree with his defense attorney that he is on the autism spectrum. I don't remember if he or his girlfriend told me, or it was just because I've worked with autistic children and picked up on it. As a matter of fact, he's on the spectrum, but is very high functioning. He knows right from wrong. I remember we were all concerned for his unborn child, which I'm going to show you in a bit. These were two individuals who shouldn't be raising a child, as neither were mentally capable. Like, would they remember to feed the baby and change his diaper? He did okay at his job. It's a good position for somebody like him. All right. He did have his moments, though. This person says, I also remember one night he was very upset that the other person working the same position was making fun of him for what they were naming the child. Now, I had to calm him down, she said, and talk him through it. I don't remember the name, but it would be a name that the kid is going to be teased about. There were many nights he would have his moments, and I had to talk him down. I'm just glad I experienced with autism, and that helped me with him. Now, let's just say when he was named as a suspect, I was shocked. I feel for his son. His son would be around 5 now. Okay. So there's a little background on him. That's the monster. All right. And that's his girlfriend that he has a baby with. All right. So let's take that down. And I'm not ready for this yet. We're going to pull this up first because I want you to see this and I want you to hear the prosecutor saying and him pleading guilty right day one. And you can see her on the inside here. You're going to see plenty of videos. All right, let's just go to this and then we'll continue.
An unexpected guilty plea at the capital murder trial of a former FedEx driver accused of killing a 7-year-old Texas girl after delivering a Christmas gift to her home.
She was so much fun. She was a free spirit.
Prosecutors say back in 2022, Tanner Horner claimed as he was backing out of the driveway, he hit 7-year-old Athena Strand, allegedly telling investigators that Athena did not appear seriously injured, but fearing she'd tell her father what had happened. He panicked and strangled her.
I'll tell you, that little girl right there is a warrior.
Now, I want you guys to hear this loud and clear. This little girl's a warrior, and the prosecutor is telling us that she fought with the strength of 100 men. All right, I want you to realize that and say a prayer that she gets the justice she deserves, along with her family, because they're victims in this as well.
She fought with the strength of 100 men.
Prosecutors tell a different story. They claim Horner plotted the killing for days.
He knew what was going on. He drove through the scene that day. He drove right through the scene that day.
The jury yesterday saw this chilling image of Athena inside Horner's truck before the alleged murder.
All right, so if you take a look at that, you'll see that that little girl was not hit. She looks a little bit, she doesn't look frightened to death, but she looks surprised and like, hey, like, what's going on here? And she asks him, are you a kidnapper? Are you kidnapping me? You can see she's alive and well right there. And that footage in the FedEx truck goes on to record him strangling her and beating her and her fighting. All right, Sherlock Homegirl, good to see you, my friend. It has been a long while. He did not hit her with the van at all. That's a complete and utter lie, in my opinion. Now, he's still sticking to that in the phase of the death penalty, but we all know better. All right. He forgot about everything. There's so much evidence in this case. He should not even have went to trial. I got to tell you, when you guys see the stuff that I'm going to present to you today, you're going to say, why did he even go to trial? He should not have. Now, guys, come on in. If you just got here, do me a favor. Let's get in the algorithm. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. If you want to get a membership or gift a membership, please help towards our goal today. We're definitely not going to get monetized today. We can't talk about this case any other way than to say she was strangled and beaten and her body was dumped.
Now, a jury will decide if he'll spend the rest of his life in prison or face the death penalty.
He was there 24 hours before on the same road at a different house with a different girl.
His lawyers claim Horner's autism, his struggle with mental health, and his exposure to lead paint should disqualify him from the death penalty.
Testing shows that he has 24 times the amount of lead that the person his age should have in his bones. You don't have to be a scientist or a doctor to know that lead has terrible effects on the brain.
Testimony resumes today as the jury considers Horner's sentence. Sophie Flay, ABC News.
All right, so I want you to, now we're up to speed, all right, 30 minutes in, and you understand what I'm saying. Yes, ma'am, autism my ass. You got that right. right? BS. Now you're caught up to speed, and I'm gonna get you into the I'm gonna get you into the mind of this character while I show you. And this guy's a monster, but he's also a YouTuber. What? He creates stuff. Look at that. He even creates things that appeal to children. And yeah, where did the lead paint thing come from? I mean, they're throwing shit at a wall and trying to make it stick. Okay. Yeah, Mab, you're my guy. Let's go give him some lead. All right. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm going to show you guys, and it's going to be triggering because you say he could drive a FedEx truck with no problem. And you're going to see him right now. He also has a YouTube channel where he thinks he's a rapper. Okay? He absolutely thinks he's a rapper, and it makes me disgusted and sick that this guy is got 59 subscribers, 9 videos, and he's on this channel creating things like this. I mean, this is for children. Do you see this? He's catering it, and now this is in 2020 when he was working with the person that told me about his baby mama being pregnant. Look at what he's creating. All right, so that's what this monster's doing, and I do have that vigil up. Thank you for letting me know that. This Athena Strand had a vigil, and the vigil was pink and the bikers and so forth. So we're definitely going to get to that. I appreciate you for letting me know, but I also want you to take a look at his page. Let's just shame him for a bit, and it feels so good to trash talk about this monster. Okay, I want you to see how this guy moves so you can understand that he's the lead and the autism is an excuse. He's just a dirty, evil pedophile. Now, yesterday I was a bit corrected. Somebody that works with criminals in forensic criminal psychology, corrected me a bit and said, it's not really 90% people are evil. It's 90% of the people committing these crimes are sociopaths, psychopaths, have mental health issues, PTSD, or trauma. The other 10% are purely just evil, right? Talk about evil. Let's talk about Rex Heuermann, who pled guilty today with a smile. Rex Heuermann pled guilty. Talked about it like no big deal. Killing 8 women, only pled to the 7, doesn't want to be tried for anything else, while his wife, and I don't like his wife, Asa. I can't stand her. I don't like her at all. She ate her mother trucking words after that guilty plea. You know what? I just don't like her. I don't. I think that she knew what was up and she didn't do anything. He was jovial AF. That mother trucker was smiling and smirking. All right. So trigger warning. This is the monster that I hope gets a death penalty, but we won't know until this is over. All right. Thank you for being here. Yeah, this that we know about. Exactly. That was his sport. Now back to Tanner. This is the guy that's currently, he's not on trial. He's in the sentencing phase. And I've already caught you all up. Let's look at him.
Imitate by 21 Pilots. Starting now.
He's
on
just
Amazon
evil.
Music.
He's just evil, guys.
Oh, I know how to levitate up on my feet. And ever since the 7th grade, I learned to fire breathing. Though I feel like things I felt, you can learn to levitate with just a little help. Learn to levitate with just a little help. Come down, come down. Cowards only come through when the hour's late.
It's garbage, number 1, and screw this guy, number 2, because we're all on the YouTube platform. And I bet you 9 out of 10 people in this chat right now have had a FedEx package delivered to them in the last few months, at the very least. All right. Now I have packages all the time. As you know, I get a lot of different goodies right? So I get lots of different packages and lots of different vendors of a vendor. This guy is garbage. He's a piece of trash, sick, yeah, self-diagnosed. All right, let me show you a little bit more. This monster thinks that he's gonna get away with it so easy. But look at his eyes. It's like they're just hollow. When someone has blue, pretty eyes, they should be pretty and blue. His just look like death. Now here he is again, and let's look at his background. Again, I want you guys to realize that these people, these predators, these monsters, this particular monster, Tanner, is still on YouTube. He still has subscribers and he's still appealing to children. All right. So please understand that. Exactly. That's why this hit so close to home. If you never heard of this case, well, neither had I until the trial started. I really just didn't hear about it. Yeah, look at those eyes. He's a sicko. You guys wait. We're going to hear the interrogation. It's only about 12 minutes, but you've got to hear it. This guy thinks he's something else, boy. First, I want you to see the kind of shack that he's in. And hey, there's no problem with not being able to afford things. No shame. But this guy just looks like a weird, psychotic pedo. He's spray painted on his walls. He's got a baby coming with some chick that also has mental disabilities. What? Man, you followed this from the day it happened? Man, this is rough. This is hard. I'm kind of glad I didn't. Look at this. That's garbage. Let's laugh at him. Boo! Get out of here. Every step that I take is another mistake to you. Boo! All right, I had to turn that volume down. They're going to cut that out of my video because it's got music, but I wanted you to see that this monster, who he is and what he's portraying to be. And please now be on the lookout for anybody and everybody. And guys, don't let your children play in the front of the house, no matter what. It's just really not the thing to do anymore. This happened 3 years ago, by the way. It wasn't just yesterday. And I'm sure there's other cases like this that haven't been solved yet. All right. He's disgusting and he's evil. And when you see what he has to say, you're going to. Hey, I was showing you the new coconut berry edition. Do you like it? All right, let's continue. You can buy some. All right. All right, so that's him. You distracted me. Come back to his YouTube page. I just wanted you to see kind of who he is as a weirdo person and understand that under oath, young and aspiring vocal. What? I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to see what. Hold on. I just want to see what this weirdo's doing. Nope. This guy is a freaking creep. All right, I hope he's in that same frame of mind when he gets sentenced to the death penalty. All right, that's what I hope happens. Now, let's just take a look at his Facebook page real quick, and then we'll get back into everything he did. Now, there's the baby that was referred to in the message that I read you. This mother trucker has 635 friends on Facebook. All right, Tanner Horner. This is the perpetrator in this case, and he has pled guilty. So I don't have to say he allegedly did anything. He pled guilty. Now, look at this was years ago. 2021, that means the baby would be about 5, just like the person said. he still says he's in a relationship, but if you look at the girl, she says single. All right. I mean, this guy he didn't post much after the baby in 2021, but I really just wanted you to see who this creepy guy is and just how he portrays himself. It's disgusting. Really disgusting. The baby's adorable, of course, but you look at the poor child, and I hope he doesn't get connected to Tanner, because you know what? That baby, look at those comments calling him a child murderer. You gave life and took life. Please let that baby be safe. Now, again, that baby's 5 years old now, and we're not putting the picture up. If they believed his 16-year-old, this POS would have been in prison and Athena still alive. You got that right, my friend. All right. I don't know what happened there, but let me do this. I'm going to actually let's just get right into this so I can continue and explain everything that happened. I want to get to the interrogation as well, which isn't going to be that long, but guys, I really want you to be here. Really, really want you to be here with me on this one. All right. He's doing karaoke in his house, in his room, in a shithole. What's up, Sailhounds? Good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Well, hi. This is a monster. Now, listen, guys, this FedEx driver pled guilty on the first day of opening statements in the Athena Strand case, where he strangled and killed her back in 2022. All right. So let's take a look quickly. And if you guys can help with the goal, they just came in. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. All right. Listen, the death of Athena Strand, jurors to hear. Now, this is where we are. Then this is day 2. The jurors are hearing and seeing disturbing video of former FedEx driver killing 7-year-old girl Athena Strand. Right, here's live updates. The jury is going to hear weeks of testimony to determine if Tanner should be sent to life in prison or be put on Texas death row. Now I got to show you this, guys. I got to. The same truck Horner was driving that day. Hold on. Delivering her present. It's just you have to see this.
New developments in the Tanner Horner trial. Tonight, the delivery driver has pleaded guilty to killing Athena Strand in Wise County back in 2022. Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez has been keeping tabs on this case. Is this something you saw coming?
No, Chris, we were all stunned in that courtroom because just as the jury was about to come into the courtroom, Tanner Horner pled guilty. It caught everyone off guard, including the judge. So what was supposed to be the start of his trial instantly became a fight over whether Tanner Horner, a former FedEx driver, should live or die.
I mean, this is the evidence that they're showing right now. That's her pants that he took off of her. Now, they didn't show, they're not charging him with raping her. They don't show that there's that activity, but she was also in the water. So we don't know what happened. We're going to see as it unfolds. Now, the good thing about this case is we still get to hear the details, and this monster, Tanner, still has to sit there through it. All right. Many times, like in the Chris Watts case where he pled guilty, done. That's it. We're done. Case closed. You don't hear anything about anything. Sealed, lock him up and be quiet. Feels like no justice, doesn't it? At least this feels like there's some justice in the presentation of what he did to Athena Strand. Please say a prayer for her and her family that they get the justice they deserve. Thank you so much, Sadie's mama, for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate you. Saucy Skins, good to see you, my friend. I want you guys to realize this. That child did not get hit with a truck. That never happened. That's his defense. That and being autistic is his defense. That never happened. He never hit her. All right. And you're going to see in the video that he never did that. That never happened. That was just part of his story.
Within moments, jurors began seeing the first pieces of evidence. They were shown photos of Athena Strand, including one taken.
And look at that. You can be anything Barbie. That's literally the Barbie package she was waiting for Christmas. And instead we find her in water, dead 2 days later.
inside the FedEx truck, the same truck Horner was driving that day, delivering her presents, Barbie dolls, her stepmom bought her for Christmas. Jurors also saw pictures connected to that delivery. Prosecutors say it directly contradicts Horner's initial claim that he accidentally ran over the little girl and killed her because he was afraid he might lose his job. Prosecutors showed that photo of Athena again inside the truck, alive and uninjured. Defense attorneys, meanwhile, are asking the jury to spare Horner's life.
I really want you guys to understand what his defense is. And yes, we're going to totally get into the whole jury proceeding and what the details of it after this indie issue. I appreciate you guys for being here and chatting. It helps get this into the algorithm. All right. This is Saucy Skin CBD. This case is horrific. I don't even know what to say about that other than that. Now, this is the case of Athena Strand. Okay. And right now, this happened, guys. The Athena Strand case happened back in 2022 on November 30th. All right. Tanner kidnapped a 7-year-old little girl, Athena, on April 7th, 2026, which was yesterday. Tanner Horner pled guilty to capital murder and aggravated kidnapping. Now, the case is in the penalty phase, you guys. And in the penalty phase, they're still going to be presenting both sides of the case like if it were a trial. All right. So key timelines in this case, guys. November 30th, 2022, Athena was reported missing from her home after Tanner Horner delivered the FedEx package with the Barbie dolls, which were intended to be her Christmas gift. Now, listen, December 2nd, just days later, we got a confession and a recovery of her body. Now, Horner was identified through digital evidence and confessed to the investigators. He led authorities to Athena's body in the Trinity River near Boyd, Texas. All right. He claimed he panicked. Horner said that he told the police he accidentally hit Athena with the van and strangled her in a panic to keep her from telling her father. Prosecutor's argument says that Horner's accident story is a complete and utter lie, and they're presenting video evidence from the truck showing Athena alive and sitting behind the driver's seat after the alleged hit. They're arguing that the abduction was pre-planned or premeditated. Now, the trial, after years of delays, Horner's pled guilty on day 1, and we're in day 2 of sentencing phase. Will he get the death penalty? That's what we're looking for, right? He pled. Now, the Wise County District Attorney's actively seeking the death penalty, and the defense attorneys are presenting evidence in Horner's autism diagnosis, all right, and mental health illness, and are talking about a childhood brain damage, including fetal alcohol exposure and lead poisoning, to argue the life sentence instead of the death penalty. Now, guys, the jury has seen very, very graphic evidence, including the audio of the struggle, or should I call it the strangle of Athena inside that van. Now, the official cause of death for Athena was strangulation and blunt force trauma. And the jury has to hear it. They have to hear it and they have to see it.
Saying that he suffers from mental health issues and should not be executed.
It's an hour. It's not 5 minutes. It's an hour. And it's not just one time that he's trying to kill her. It's over and over and over again.
And that's why he says she fought with the strength of 100 men, because they have it on video and audio. Sadie's mama says, okay, chat doesn't show for, well, gifting a membership or a super chat or super sticker all goes towards the goal. And if we get 10 of them, I'll say, yay, thank you. And thank you, Sadie's mama. I'll say it for you. Choo, choo. Good to see you, Midnight Lace. Jay, I'm late again. What's going on here? Well, Missy, Athena Strand, the Athena Strand trial started yesterday, and right in the middle of opening statements, or after opening statements, Tanner Horner pled guilty of killing and kidnapping 7-year-old Athena Strand. Now, this happened back in November of 2022, November 30th to be exact. She was waiting for a Christmas present when the FedEx driver kidnapped her and then killed her. All right, let's continue.
You can hear the banging in the truck. You can hear the screams. This is what's coming.
Tanner has done what he can today by pleading guilty, accepting that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison.
The punishment phase is expected to last about 3 weeks. The defense is going to call 19 expert witnesses. Tomorrow, though, the prosecution continues its case. The jurors are expected to see and hear a 4-hour video of Tanner Horner with FBI agents, and they will show the moment that Athena's body was found. Chris, it will be a very emotional day.
Oh boy. I mean, you guys are lucky that you're not doing that. And I appreciate that comment greatly. When you guys, tell me how I'm doing or how I can do better, I really do appreciate that. I do not want you guys blowing smoke at me. Oh, Jay, you're so great. If you don't think so, I'd rather have, honesty. And Kim Wells says this is truly good content coverage. I appreciate that. Hey, we can all have room to grow. All right, let's continue. Okay, so Fort Worth, Texas, Tanner Horner, former FedEx driver, has admitted to capital murder. Now the jury's hearing evidence to determine whether he gets life in prison or the death penalty. Trial began Monday, April 7th, and is expected to continue for weeks, even in the presentation of the evidence. Now, how did we get here? I'll tell you how we got here. November 2022, Horner told police that he struck Strand with his delivery van. Now we're talking about Athena here. I want to say Athena. He kidnapped and strangled Athena out of fear. He says that she would tell her father about the incident. Horner later led authorities to where her body had been left in Wise County near Boyd, which they did recover. Now, his lawyers have asked Tarrant County to take the death penalty off of the table, saying he has autism. They argued that Horner's autism spectrum reduces his moral blameworthiness and negates and retributive and deterrent purposes of capital punishment. None of those things are true, even if I couldn't pronounce them. And it says they expose him to unacceptable risk that he'll be wrongfully sentenced to death. I have to disagree. They also argued that the data that was obtained from Horner's phone should not be admissible at trial. Lawyers not directly involved in the case told the news station they have mixed feelings about whether Horner's defense will be successful. Now, I want you guys to understand that he started talking right away. Okay. I want you to understand that he just started going off. April 8th updates are okay. So we're going to get updates. I will give you updates throughout the trial or at the end of the trial. Okay. So they're giving us an update for today, and it's just them presenting more evidence. There's the memorial for Athena near the water's edge. Now that's where her little body, 7-year-old little body, was dumped and discarded, and he led them to her body. Now, Espinoza told jurors that Horner told them he had dragged Athena out of the delivery van into the river, and the detective said Athena was face down, floating in the river, in the water near the shore where they finally located her. She was nude, you guys. Now, he's not being charged with a sexual assault, but I'd imagine that he did that to her, taking all of her clothes off, and his past of raping another child. Yes. Now, prosecutors today began to play a 90-minute body cam video of them taking Horner out once again to find Athena's body. It's about 6 p.m., guys, on December 2nd. Of 2022. The sun's going down, and before they get in the vehicle, investigators give Horner a cigarette that he smokes with handcuffs leaning against the SUV. Now, I watched this earlier and I wanted to punch him in the face because he talks breezily about what his favorite foods are, mixing casual talk in with whether he needs a lawyer. Now, the last time I was in handcuffs was 4 years ago. He mentions to an investigator, adding that he tried to kill himself. He did say that. And they said, "What happened?" And he starts telling them that he put a rope around his neck. He was unsuccessful, obviously. Nice truck, Horner tells the investigator as he climbs inside. At this point, investigators have built a solid rapport with him, and he appears completely relaxed. Guys, no lawyer. In the hands of the police officer, desperate to find the body of Athena. Now, as they drive, Horner talks casually about work schedules, weather, and occasionally directs him to the body of 7-year-old Athena that he murdered 2 days earlier. Now, or they think. Now, driving at night, the investigators end up back near a bamboo thicket that they had been to earlier in the day. Now, he's getting confused, all right? He says when they again can't find Athena, the investigators say, "Is there any way you could be confused?" He says, "No, sir." They let him smoke another cigarette, maintain their patience while talking to him, continuing to trade small talk, all while getting it on body cam, talking like old friends. Now, he says, "I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't look like she's here." Actually, the investigator says that to him. And he says, and now he has an alter ego, by the way. When he tells his story, he tells the officer that he calls himself Zero when he's in the mood. And Zero is the one that does bad things. Zero is the killer. Is it Zero that's fucking with me? And investigators asks Tanner, "Zero, tell me where she's at." So I want you to realize that his alter ego is Zero, and Zero does bad things. Now, the video image is dark and Horner's not immediately visible. I watched it. I'm not going to show it here. I don't care enough about it. So I'm telling you guys. So they begin driving left. Yes. The vehicle engine roars. They speed down the road. No more small talk, just an occasional 1 or 2 words. "We're getting close. Slow down." The vehicle stops. "Where those trucks are? Where did you park?" "Right here." The video goes dark, and at the direction of the judge, "You put her in the water?" He says, "I tossed her in." Horner says, barely audible. "Did she sink?" the investigator asks. "Did you tie something to her?" Then, there she is. "Thank you, Zero." The video then comes back into view as investigators and Horner walk back up to the slight grade of the shoulder where you saw the memorial. All right. While the section of the video is playing, Tanner sits with his elbows on the defense table, his chin on his fist, and his expression blank. Now, at one point on the video, he calls himself Zero, and Zero, who's still talking to investigators on the ride back to the station, admits to him that him and Horner are fans of the white stuff, aka cocaine, guys. All right. So as they arrived at the station, Zero became less talkative. Prosecutors stopped the video about 15 minutes in the recording, and at 2:30 they resumed playing the interrogation. Investigators re-enter the room and encourage him to give more detail. He's now respondent and slow to answer their questions. They asked him why he turned his phone off for about half an hour during the abduction, and he said he was hiding the body during that time. Duh. All right, so I'm not even going to tell you what this is. You're going to listen to it right now. All right, we're going to just get into it because that's the only way that I know how. I'm not going to read it all, but this is powerful, powerful testimony in this trial. This is powerful evidence. Now, this evidence is with the testimony. While they're playing this and they have somebody on the stand watching and talking, but this is just simply Tanner describes Athena Strand's death, strangulation, and just throwing her in the river. So you can listen to his own words, all right? And then we will get back into the case and what happened. He says, "I just tossed her in the bush over there." All right?
Package. Okay, you know that. When I was trying to get myself situated.
Hold on.
You went to that residence to deliver a package? Okay, you know that. when I was trying to get myself situated where, you know, I have an easy way to get out of the property, I kind of backed up in here. Okay, and then she seemed like she wasn't too incredibly hurt, but it was a panic. Okay.
Again, he's confessing, but he's giving his alternate story, and his alter ego named Zero comes out. And of course, law enforcement just plays off of that. He is messed up in the head, but he knew right from wrong, and he continued anyway. Now, I want you to realize, guys, 3 to 5 minutes it takes to strangle a person to death. He had anywhere between 1 and 2 minutes to stop strangling that little girl, Athena. He had many times other chances that we see her in that vehicle to stop, let her off, do whatever, but don't dump her body and strangle her. That's what he did. All right. Good to see you guys. I'm glad you're all here. Michael, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. I'll say it. Choo choo. All right, that and Robin, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you for the $2 super sticker. Thank you, thank you. This is not going to get in the algorithm, I'm telling you. But I do give you a mad trigger warning.
I didn't know what to do. My main fear was I could lose my job, lose my source of income, the way, like, everything was on the line. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So what do you do? Look her up in the truck? I listened to this little voice in my head that told me, just grab her and go, and I did. Okay. So you said you didn't hurt her too bad, you just kind of bumped her, or? I mean, she had some bruises. Okay. So she's still talking to you, and what'd she say? She was worried that I was getting at her. And what did you tell her? I told her no.
Can you guys hear it okay? Because she's asking where he's going. Where are we going? If you guys can't hear it okay, it's only about 10 minutes and I don't want to speed it up. But let me know if you guys are good with this. If not, I'll hop to the next segment. I really want to hear, I want you guys to hear in his own words his lies, because that shows you that he has mental capability to lie where it protects him. All right, but he doesn't have the capability to stop. Yeah, exactly. He knows right from wrong. Yeah, I figured you guys would want to hear it. I hear it too. It's just a little wonky, but I got the words up here.
That's where we were going. I didn't know what to tell her, so I would just talk to her about random things.
Right?
It's okay. You didn't want.
I also want you to realize that he was arrested in his FedEx uniform. All right. They handed him a cigarette with handcuffs on. He had his FedEx hat on prior to being in the room. His hat's right here on the table, fully suited for FedEx. So I want you guys to keep that in mind with your Uber Eats, your DoorDash, your FedEx, UPS, and all the independent delivery services that we now see. All right. Oh, he tried to cover it up big time. That he was in a FedEx jacket, and oh my goodness, Athena came. What's up, Athena 222? How you doing? Good to see you here. Are you good? 222. I'm going to say a prayer that Athena Strand gets the justice she deserves. All right. We really got to do this for the family. When you guys see the family, it's heartbreaking. It's just, this case is just bad.
She was a sweet kid.
Okay, so you were in fear of, hey, I'm going to get in trouble for hitting her with my truck. That was your biggest fear. Okay, then what?
I was driving around for a bit, just trying to figure out what I was going to do about the situation.
And what's she doing?
Asking questions, we're just talking at this point.
Yeah, is she sitting down or is she standing up?
It's funny because I was doing research on this case today, and I was looking for Athena Strand and all the information that I had. And when I was looking up Athena Strand, Athena Van came up in my email, and I was like, oh, that's been a while. That's why I was caught off guard to see you here. Thank you for coming. If you would hit that like button, if you don't know about this case, I'm sure the chat will fill you in or let me know. This is in Texas, Deb. Big Texas. Texas, where you would get the death penalty. All right? The freaking death penalty. And he deserves it, in my opinion. Let's listen to his own words.
Is she in the passenger seat? Where's she at?
She's standing up. She's in the back.
Okay. What's she asking?
Just random things. Like, I just had her talking.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't know.
And then where'd you go?
We went down this private road and I listened to that little voice again.
What it takes.
Oh, yeah.
You remember what it told you?
I heard it.
200. Let me listen. Then how'd you heard it?
The contract.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Now, I want you to remember this, that his defense is probably fuming right now. Indy Isham, they moved the trial to your city. Oh, so you already knew about this case? All right, the voice of a devil, I agree. He always was a huge security guard behind him in court. That's because people want to kill this guy. He's crying and using excuses, but we saw him on YouTube. We saw his YouTube channel. What a disgrace he is. Yeah, he did. He's bald, but he's also balding in his other videos. At this point, he just shaved his freaking head. All right, he's about to tell how he killed her.
No, it's not all right.
Well, no, it's all right to tell me. It's okay to tell me. You gotta get it off your chest. How'd you heard it? Sorry. You gotta get it off your chest, okay?
Listen again.
Okay. If you don't want to talk about how you heard her in detail, just
I
say it.
heard it.
And then let's talk about how she ended up after you heard her. Where did you take her?
Sat on the private road trying to figure out what I was going to do from that point. I didn't know what I was going to do.
All right. I didn't know what I was going to do, guys. Mo, thank you so much. Texas needs to stop taking the death penalty off the table. What's the point of having it? 15 months since I upgraded my membership. Woohoo. Thank you. And I wasn't talking to y'all. I was, Baby Guilty came in and gave me something and she wanted me to do the sound. This is when you don't win. Anyway, but that's Baby Guilty's contribution to all of us. And thank you, Mo, for being a member for 15 months and just supporting the channel. All right, let's watch this guy cry and then we'll get back into all the other evidence. This is a big key piece of evidence here, guys. He doesn't have to tell exactly what happened. He's still telling them that he murdered her.
So I just started heading back to the station, and then when I was driving back to the station, I saw the bamboo.
Yep.
Testimony in there.
Okay. Obviously, if you tossed her there, we're gonna find her. So she's fully clothed, and you mentioned she didn't have any shoes on.
No, she didn't have shoes.
All right. Wearing socks, barefooted?
Socks.
Okay. You remember what kind of clothes she was wearing?
I mean,
yeah,
I think like shorts or jeans or something.
Okay.
There was a lot going on through my head at the time.
Now, again, they're asking him specific questions so that this can be used for trial. What was she wearing? He says, I'm not sure, shorts or jeans. Now, we just saw the jeans, so it wasn't shorts. Wrong. Try again, buddy. Wait, what? That's what that's for. We will get one that says boop. May carry a clipboard. Maybe guilty. Had me thinking about buzzers. I still sad. It still makes me sad thinking about it. Yes, very thoughtful. I love baby guilty. Let's continue. I agree with. They did not take the death penalty off the table, guys. It's on the table right freaking now.
Is there any voices telling you anything at that time after you, just to get her out of the truck or anything like that, or was that just kind of a decision you made?
I just tossed her in. Like, I couldn't just keep running around with the kid in the back like that. I just tossed her in the bush or whatever you want to call it.
Now he says, I just tossed her in the bush or whatever you want to call it. Okay. That's what he's telling them. Now, it doesn't matter if he tells them that he had her in the truck and a UFO came down and aliens took her. It doesn't matter. As long as he puts himself in the same vicinity with Athena where she went missing and they have him talking about it. All right. Let's continue.
And you sure she was not alive at that time?
I was relatively sure.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't check her heartbeat or anything, but I'm relatively sure that she wasn't alive.
Okay.
I can't.
So let's backtrack a little bit, okay? To that private road that you went down. And when the voice is telling you to her, or, you know, how did it?
Yeah, I have his girlfriend's testimony where nobody believed her, and I'm sure there were plenty other assaults. All right, we don't even know if he was a first time killer or not. We don't know, but we do know that he should have already been locked up. It's absolutely not his first rodeo, but in this time he's playing dumb. And yes, he's a waste of human space. All right, let's continue.
Sorry. Did you say anything to her? Did you explain that you had to do what you had to do? I mean, can you give me something on that?
I just told her to turn around and.
I know.
You choked her? One hand or two hands? Two. Like, was she facing away from you when you were choking her?
And started off, I tried to.
Oh, you tried to break her neck?
I tried to break her neck, making it as quick and painless as possible, but it didn't work. She started crying.
He killed her with as little possible pain as he could. She started to cry. Now remember this. She fought for her life with the strength of 100 men, according to the prosecutor. Now, I want you to understand that what that means is that her body was badly beaten up as well. All right. Now, I want you to also realize he was not a direct employee of FedEx. He was subbed out from another vendor that places jobs. And I do believe that the family's suing FedEx. I'm not sure how that's going. But yeah, this monster is just trying to use his mental health. Absolutely. And it's not going to work. That's why I'm showing you. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. When he calls himself Zero, he knows.
So I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to calm down.
It's all right. Hey, listen to what I tell you earlier, right? A lot of times she fixated on what, right? On what happened. So now we know a little bit of what happened, right? We know that you hit her, bumped her with the truck. You got scared, right? She not telling you. So you got her in the truck. When you got her in the truck, let's talk about that. Did you just pick her up into the truck, or did you ask her to get in?
I asked her to get in.
Okay, so she listened to you, got in the truck, and then you drive from your route immediately, start kind of headed back to the station, right?
No. After that, that's when we went down the private road because I was trying to figure out what I was going to do.
Okay. What do you think the time frame was from there? Like,
I mean, what he's trying to do here, in my opinion, is not get the death penalty. He doesn't have a lawyer. They advised him of that, and he still is talking. And then he goes to lead them to her body, which they ultimately recover. All right. I don't know why this even went to trial. Now, again, he pled guilty on the very first day after the opening statements. Yes, Texas Ranger Espinoza did a great job. It did take 3 years to get to trial, but that's the delays on this side. Nobody wants to go on trial for the death penalty.
I don't know.
Not very long, like 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes.
I wouldn't know how to.
Okay. But no worry, we're not gonna
Unless I'm like sitting there looking at the time, I have no idea how much time has passed.
Okay, so.
I don't even know how long it's been since you guys stopped me after that delivery.
Yeah, okay, so your perception of time is not too good. So you get in the truck, she's standing up talking to you. You're driving down the private road, and that's when the voice tells you, hey, you need to hurry up, we need to hurry up, right? Am I right? Correct, if I'm missing something. And then you ask her to face away from you, and you try to break her neck at first, but she started crying.
I mean, are you hearing what he's saying when you said you tried to break her neck and they're trying to get out of him how he did that? Now, how he tried to make it hurt as little as possible, that's probably one of the worst ways that you can die when you're fighting back, especially. And guys, the jury's going to hear all that audio and see some of the footage of him trying to take her life. He ultimately succeeds, but that little girl, Athena, she fought back with all of her might. May she rest in peace. We will watch the vigil as well.
You should try to break her neck, and you like try to spin it. How did you do that? Like spin like one hand on the chin, one hand on top of the head, hand on the side of the head, or how?
Like,
okay, and that didn't work.
sir.
Okay, but she was facing away from you when you did that.
Sir.
Okay, so then
I didn't want her to see it coming. I didn't.
Okay. So then
I couldn't take it if she was sitting there in pain. I wanted to do it as quick as possible, and it didn't work. And sorry.
And
I'm sure he's crying for himself, you guys, because I mean, he's really just telling them, like, oh man, I got caught. Let me hurry up and get it out. Yes, he's a coward. As a matter of fact, he tells officers that he tried to take his life prior to this. I don't think he tried hard enough.
now, we accomplished that, trying to find out where she's at, right? We haven't found her yet, or that I know of. So now we're going to get into some of that why. Why did you mainly do her because you didn't want to get in trouble for hitting her with FedEx or legally or what?
Essentially, I was panicking. I didn't know what to do, and then it almost seems like it was a dream. For the most part, it just kind of seems like.
Notice how he says it seems like a dream, not like a nightmare, guys, like a dream. All right. He dreams about breaking necks of children. Apparently, what is he talking about? I hope you guys heard that.
I wasn't, you know what I mean? Seems like I wasn't behind the wheel at the time.
Out of body experience, so to speak.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost. But stuff like that's happened my entire life, where like I'll have these like out of body experiences. Most of them I'm like getting in a fight with someone or something like that. But sometimes I'll kind of like phase out and not know what's going on. Other times I'll just kind of be in the back seat almost.
When you were talking to her, did she tell you her name?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Athena.
Did she tell you her full name, or did she just know her first name? Did she tell you her last name or anything?
No, she didn't tell me her last name.
So she just told you her name was Athena?
Man.
Which I actually thought that was pretty cool because, I like mythology and stuff like that.
That was pretty cool because he likes mythology and stuff, guys. He likes the name Athena. What in the holy hell? I hope that the jury sees right through this, my friends. We just got started. We've been here for an hour and 15 minutes, and I haven't lost one bit of steam in this case. Now, I have a ton to present to you today. Let's see how far it goes. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. I didn't get to thank Royal Bitch X, but thank you, Royal Bitch X. I say choo choo. Thank you so much. Let's continue. Yeah, a real sorcerer, right, Jen's a gypsy?
Yep. So let's go back to, I know you don't want to, you have a hard time, rightfully so, kind of recalling it, but, I'm going to go back and touch on it a little bit. And you try to break her neck, she starts crying. When you start choking her, facing away from you, like you stated earlier, how long did it take her to essentially pass out or stop crying? Was it long, or was it a short period of time? How long do you think?
It was probably about a minute, but it felt like so much longer.
Again, it takes 3 to 5 minutes to strangle somebody to death. All right. Let's continue. I mean, he is a nightmare. I agree. He should have already been locked up, and they should have continued to keep it that way. His girlfriend has a dog named Draco. Oh my goodness, his girlfriend, I didn't even want to get into that. The reason I put that up is so you guys can see what a real winner this guy is with his baby mama, and she even has a history of charges, right? Both of them not mentally stable enough. You look there on the right hand corner, and Shay Marie is talking about him, well, raping her at 16 years old. They didn't believe him. They didn't believe her, so he went on to kill Athena. Should he get the death penalty? Yes, in my opinion. I hope the jury sees it that way. All right, let's continue.
And then she just stopped moving, went limp. I mean, were you all on the ground, or was she standing up still? Was she standing up when you were doing it, or did she obviously at some point when she passes out or whatever, you had to come to the ground?
She started off standing, and then kind of after a while just went down.
Okay. And then did she move at all after that?
No, sir.
Now, guys, we're not playing all the footage, of course. We got a couple more minutes, but again, trigger warning here. He goes on to tell, he talks a lot, by the way. He talks a ton without representation. You know what he tells law enforcement? He tells them that he had to clean up throw up and shit after he did that. And the officer said, well, who threw up and who shit? He said he threw up from doing the crime, and she pooped her pants after he strangled her. So he had to clean up a mess, is what he said. All right. It took 2 days to find him out. Everything is on video, Deb. Everything. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about Harry Potter, but thank you for letting me know. I have no idea. I don't watch that.
That's when I'm starting moving towards that, I guess, it's a county road, but the one right across from 2123, that's when I threw her in the bush.
Okay. Now, what was that little voice specifically telling you? Do you remember?
That we needed to stop her from pretty much telling anybody.
Okay. So that was the main concern. That's the whole reason why.
Everything was at risk. My job, my family, everything. And I didn't.
You didn't know what to do. You panicked.
That's it. He panicked. He didn't know what to do. His job, his life, his children, his, right? That is good. When I did go to Universal Studios, and when we went to the Harry Potter ride. Oh my God. That's one of the best rides I've ever went on. Just because they don't watch the movies doesn't mean. All right, listen, this is what we learned after he pled guilty. This was yesterday. Let's continue. Guys, trigger warning, because these are the graphic details that just came out in the case. Many of you that followed this case from 3 years ago, don't know all the gruesome details. Maybe you don't want to know them, but we're finding them out right now. Some people still think that this FedEx driver hit her with the truck and that it was a possible accident. That is not the case, in my opinion, and he has pled guilty. All right, so let's listen in.
Details and never before seen surveillance images of a little girl murdered by a delivery driver. This was the first day of Tanner Horner's trial.
In a stunning twist, Horner pleaded guilty to killing 7-year-old Athena Strand back in 2022. NBC5's Tahir Rahman has more from the courtroom in a warning. Some of what you're about to hear is disturbing.
Today, we learned more about the spunky little girl that was Athena Strand and her last moments here on Earth. Now, today, just scratching the surface, because we know that we will, in the days and weeks ahead in this trial, watch the full surveillance video of Athena in the back of that FedEx truck. That includes the moments where that little girl is murdered.
So first off, I want to apologize to y'all for what we're going to have to bring you.
Standing in front of a life-size picture of Athena Strand, Wise County District Attorney James Stanton prepares the jury and family for weeks-long testimony that will include surveillance video and audio from inside a FedEx truck. The 7-year-old's final moment.
Okay, now that is going to hopefully seal the deal with the jury. The jury is going to, well, the jury's already seen this, but the jury's also going to see it and hear it as she fights to take her last breath, you guys. All right. This guy's a monster. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Glad I have it bookmarked. My bad. Let me throw something up real quick while I pull that back up. I clicked out of the wrong tab. Hold on. All right. Yeah, this case, now you'll be ready. By the time we're done here today, you will be ready to listen to the trial because you'll know what's happening. I was so confused, y'all. I was so confused. I was like, wait, what happened? What happened? What? Is it over?
And never before seen surveillance images of a little girl murdered by a delivery driver. This was the first day of Tanner Horner's trial.
In a stunning twist, Horner pleaded guilty to killing 7-year-old Athena Strand back in 2022. NBC5's Tahir Rahman has more from the courtroom in a warning. Some of what you're about to hear is disturbing.
Today, we learned more about the spunky little girl that was Athena Strand and her last moments here on Earth. Now, today, just scratching the surface, because we know that.
Hi, Indy. What, you're leaving? Wait, what happened? Why are you leaving? I always say hi to Indy Isham, and I always get the 111. I'm like, an angel number. I will take an angel number where I can get it. All right. Why are you leaving, Indy? What happened? All right, let's continue. We all love you here. Come back if you would. All right, let's go.
We will, in the days and weeks ahead in this trial, watch the full surveillance video of Athena in the back of that FedEx truck. That includes the moments where that little girl is murdered.
So first off, I want to apologize to y'all for what we're going to have to bring you.
Standing in front of a life-size picture of Athena Strand, Wise County District Attorney James Stanton prepares the jury and family for weeks-long testimony that will include surveillance video and audio from inside a FedEx truck. The 7-year-old's final moments caught on camera.
She was very much alive and very much uninjured when he put her in the truck. First thing Tanner Horner says to Athena when he picks her up, he leans down and he says, "Don't scream or I'll hurt you."
Stanton revealing that the FedEx driver, Tanner Horner's DNA, was found on Strand under her fingernails and
in places where you shouldn't find DNA.
Exactly. Again, she was found without her clothes. Her clothes were later recovered. She was naked in the water. They are not charging him with sexual assault. And only because she was in the water, and I'm sure a lot of it got washed away. All right, let's continue. Hi, my wrench. Good to see you. Yeah, Pearl, Mama Pearl says, Indy, we love you. Come back. I said the come back part. Renee, is it Renew? Renee Whipple, just joining. Welcome in. you guys. Let's continue. It's a hard one. Trigger warning. Allie's got to leave. Rewatch. Thank you. All right, let's go. The jury's got to sit through all this, guys. This is day 2.
On a 7-year-old girl.
The video from inside the truck, Staten says, revealing something you can't unhear.
Is the level of fight that a 7-year-old girl has when she's facing down certain death.
Horner there to deliver Athena's Christmas present, all-you-can-be Barbies. Jurors learning more about a little girl who loved drawing, writing, and living life. Prosecutors pushing for the death penalty for the man they say committed cold and calculated murder, lying to investigators at every turn. Defense attorneys say the jury should consider Horner's life too, diagnosed on the autism spectrum.
No way, no how. I know people, so many people on the autism spectrum, and they do good things, or they do what they can, what they're capable of. This is just a sad excuse for this piece of human garbage. And not only that, guys, I bet you, I'm going to go on a limb to say that he was doing the white powder that day that he talks about. He loves his white powder. All right, let's continue. Midnight Lace says, Indy, I'm sorry you feel unheard. I've seen your comments, would acknowledge it. Yeah, don't leave. I can't see your comments when I'm reading, and especially when I'm presenting a new case, it's hard for me to say anything but hi. But we love you, and I hope we see you again soon. All right, let's continue. Yeah, everybody has autism these days. This guy's out of his mind, literally.
Parents lifelong substance abusers and exposure to toxins.
Testing shows that he has 24 times the amount of lead that a person his age should have.
Hoping jurors will sentence their client to life in prison.
We believe when you've heard the evidence, you'll realize that the type of damage that Tanner had to his brain actually makes him a good candidate for structure and rules. It's probably what he's always needed. And
he needs structure and rules. What the heck? I mean, does this defense know what they're asking for right now? Yes, Rachel, thank you for being a member for 14 months and saying justice for Athena Strand. Death penalty for this loser. Unbelievable.
when he goes to prison, he will be under threat. He will not be the one threatening him.
Now, although this trial is now in the punishment phase, the jury is still expected to hear all the testimony, all the evidence from both sides, and it's all expected to take about 3 weeks in Fort Worth.
All right, so you guys could now be ready. I'm not done, but you guys, if you wanted to be ready to go and watch the trial, you're completely ready to go watch that trial. FloJo TV, welcome. Thank you towards our goal. Are you covering this case? Are you following this case? Are you watching this case, my friend? Any and all things. All right, we do want to look at the vigil. We need to remember Athena. Many times when there's a child's life taken, we don't know much about them. We can't say she graduated, high school with all A's and she went to college and got her bachelor's. We can't say anything other than she loves pink, she loves Barbie, and she's very vibrant young lady. He took all of her experience away from her, including the Christmas present that she was looking forward to. If she wouldn't have got that Christmas present, then that might not have happened. Yeah, we coulda, woulda, should have, right? Exactly, Sale Hounds. It's because it's the death penalty. That's why they're doing such a thorough evidence, whatever you call that, presentation of evidence. Yeah, what structure will Athena be able to get about him? No way. Sorry, given one too many chances. All right, let's take a look at the vigil. I haven't got to show you any of the things about Athena. May she rest in peace and get the justice she deserves.
At this point in time. You know, we haven't spoken to the family tonight per se, because obviously they're very broken up, but so many people who came out to tonight's vigil and that we've seen all around town, a lot of them say, well, I don't personally know the family, but I feel like this is personal. They feel as if something has happened to them. Like I said before, you know, a woman said to me earlier at the church, when one of us is hurting, all of us are hurting. And the question that so many are asking is why. I don't understand how this could have happened to someone in our community, especially because this is a rural community. You know, people play outside in their yards. A little bit of that trust tonight, they've told me, has been broken.
Dear Heavenly Father, we can't let the dark win, and we have to be the light in this community.
Hundreds gathered at the steps of the Wise County Courthouse in Decatur to pray, still in disbelief over the death of 7-year-old Athena Strand.
We should be still walking in Wise County tonight.
County Judge J.D. Wise fighting back tears to offer words of support.
I didn't know Athena, but I love her.
That love visible in every corner of the county, in ribbons, bows, and balloons, all in pink, Athena's favorite color.
I want to squeeze your mom and tell her, I am so sorry that this happened and she's going through this nightmare.
31-year-old Tanner Horner, a contract driver for FedEx, is behind bars.
There you go. He was a contract driver for FedEx. So please, guys, keep your eyes and ears open, even if you're out in where you think is the safest place to be. Mabster is going towards our goal. He says, you go, Jay Best, the Mabster. Thank you for that $1.99 towards our goal. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's continue. Didn't the police chief retire because of this case? I did listen to him say that. Yes, it broke him. Thank you for bringing that up. You're absolutely right. This monster is now on trial and everything's being put out there.
Charged with capital murder and aggravated kidnapping. Wise County Sheriff Lane Aiken says he confessed to killing Athena just hours after delivering a package to her home last Wednesday afternoon, around the time she vanished. The FBI says digital evidence led to Horner, who later told investigators where to find Athena's body southeast of Boyd.
All right, so if you guys know the area, then you understand where he took her and put her body. Now, he says that he just tossed her in the bushes, but they found her floating in water, face down, with no clothes on in that area. Now, the only thing I could think about if the jury doesn't give him the death penalty is because he did lead them to the body. That's the only possibility. I can't imagine them saying, oh, this poor artistic young man just didn't know anything. He zero talked him into it. I can't imagine that happening. So let's pray that Athena gets the justice she deserves. He kidnapped her and he killed her. It only took them 2 days to find out. Has his baby mama made any comments? No. She says she put single. That's it. All right, let's continue.
And I just hope that he gets what he deserves and that precious angel is flying high today.
Yeah.
And sees all this pink for her.
Tributes to Athena are many in Wise County, a mostly rural area with 70,000 people spread across 900 square miles. Pink ribbons and her name were on display at the Paradise ISD Elementary School, where she was a first grader. Students and staff were also encouraged to wear pink.
I really don't know the family, never seen them.
Others who did not have a connection to the family say the loss still feels personal.
And it just breaks my heart just to see. I just want to cry about it.
I think we all feel that heartbreak. And we all feel that just the feeling of not understanding why this happened and what to do about it. And as he said, feeling like you can't do anything about it.
Now, tomorrow night, First Baptist Cottondale will hold another vigil, this time a candlelight vigil in honor of Athena. Her mother, Maitland Gandy, wrote on Facebook, quote, I hope all of the towns light up the night for Athena Tuesday. Her light was extraordinarily bright, so help me continue to let her light shine. I'll send it back to you.
Macy, just a question, though, about the suspect. When is he going to be appearing in court? Has he been?
All right, we don't need to go into that. He's already in court, and I'm going to tell you right now exactly why, so I could understand it and you better. So say you go to chat tomorrow, I want you to understand in the breakdown what the hell happened in this case, why we're presenting a mass amount of evidence when they have him pleading guilty numerous times and leading them to her body. Why even go to trial? All right, then he's going to plead guilty, and you'll see why. I mean, this explains it. I couldn't understand yesterday. I hopped into Grizzly True Crimes chat because she's covering this trial, and I didn't understand what happened. She's covering the trial, and he's like guilty, and I'm like, did I miss all the evidence? What's going on? So I had to figure this out and do this research, and I'm like, okay, Let me tell them, because if I'm confused about a case, y'all are probably confused about it just as much. And you just keep scrolling because you don't know what is happening. So here we are. This is what happened yesterday. And then, guys, we're going to get into the family and the actual, this happened 3 years ago. And Court TV's got the family and the things, like everything that you want to know and more. All right.
And the judge letting the jury know in this case that they will now move forward in the punishment phase of this. They will be listening to evidence as this trial goes on to then determine what punishment Tanner Horner will be facing. He was accused of killing Strand back in 2020 in front of her home in Wise County. We do have a crew on the scene there inside of the courthouse standing by, prepared to give us updates on.
All right, so check this out and welcome everybody. No Shoot Vaccine, OG Nanny, everybody that's rolling in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do me a favor, if you would, hit that like button. It's free to do so. And if you hype the video, if you get an option to hype, please do. Let me just answer your question really quickly, okay? Let's take you back to November 30th, 2022. Little Athena Strand, she was outside playing like she always did, just right outside a safe area, so to speak. And the FedEx driver comes to deliver her Christmas presents with Barbie dolls in it. He dropped the package off and he took Athena with him. Okay, 2 days later on December 2nd, he was identified through the digital evidence and his confession, where he led authorities to Athena's body in Trinity River near Boyd, Texas. Yes, her house. He was delivering a package via FedEx for Christmas, and he left the package and took Athena with him. Then he decided to take all her clothes off and strangle her, and apparently. All right, let's continue.
On this, we do know Trevor Sahaki has been standing by as well, waiting to deal with this, with learning this new information this morning. Trevor, if you're available to speak with us this morning, kind of talk us through what things look like there in the courthouse this morning.
Well, like you said, Danica, they've already started the opening statements part of this trial. And for the most part, this trial will now continue as you would expect a regular trial to go if they were going to determine whether he was guilty or not guilty. It's just now the jury will determine what kind of punishment he will have.
Now, I wish they would do this more often, and that's why I'm playing this, to explain it not only to myself again and make it retain, but to you guys. So when you're trying to follow something, you're like, what the hell happened? Oh, I know what happened. I mean, this is just me. My mind is like, I gotta know what happened in this case. And as I started looking, I'm like, well, might as well cover the case. Not, you know what I mean? I already have all the content. And oh my goodness, guys, this fires me up so bad. And I'm not going to say why. I don't want to I don't want to put myself in that predicament. But what I can say to all of you guys is y'all get deliveries, FedEx, UPS, all that, all the different driver delivery, DoorDash, your food, whatever, all kinds of different contractors all day long. Please go get yourself cameras. Make sure you pay for that subscription and don't let your kids go outside. That's the world we live in now, guys. It sucks. What the hell? Her mother must be. Oh God, girl, stay here because you're gonna see. Oh my God! Of course, the mother. She was at the father's house. She was at her dad's house, and the stepmom had just had a little tiff with her, guys. She had a tiff with her. You guys know how it is. You know how 7-year-olds are, and especially a stepchild. She had a little bit of a fit. And when she'd have a fit with the stepmom, it would happen often. Okay, so she had a fit and rushed outside and was just having a fit. FedEx driver drops the package off, takes her. Now her stepmom is in pure agony because her last conversation with her was that of an argument. All right. Johnny Robinson, thank you. I appreciate that. Not even in the backyard. I agree, Maggie. All right, let's continue. A cruel twist of fate. Bad, bad fate. Agreed. Right, so in this penalty phase, which I wish they would have done this in the Watts case and several others, in this penalty phase, they're presenting all of the evidence so that the jurors can decide death penalty or life without the possibility of parole.
As you may recall, previously he had pled not guilty to that capital murder charge, and they were going to go through the entire trial, opening statements, witness questioning, counter questioning, all of that, including closing statements, of course, as well. But now this trial, like you said, it switches into the punishment phase, where the jury, they'll still get to listen to everything. They're still going to go through those opening statements. They're still going to question all these witnesses. They're going to go through all of that, and then the jury will decide what kind of punishment Tanner Horner will face for the murder of Athena Strand. Now, this jury, as we now found out, there's been no plea deal, nothing like that. Typically in these kind of cases, when I've talked to attorneys before, when they plead guilty in a case like this, it's more just because they want to get through maybe some of the pain that people could face by having to rehash all of these really memories over and over.
Well, I don't think it's the pain that he doesn't want to rehash. I'm sure that he would love to sit there and relive this all in his head. But guys, when you see the evidence that I've already presented to you and then multiply that by 10, that's the evidence they have. It only took them 2 days to track this guy down. All right? 2 days. He killed her almost immediately.
Again. And so what they do, they plead guilty in order to kind of just move it forward, because they're like, we're not, they have a hard time thinking that they're going to win and get a not guilty verdict. And so they decide, okay, we are instead going to just plead guilty and try and hope that we can get some leeway from the jury in order to not get the death penalty, because the Wise County District Attorney has said previously that he plans on going for the death penalty in this case. Now, obviously the defense is trying to avoid that. Their previous plan, we expected them to try and use Tanner Horner's autism to try and avoid the death penalty in this case. We can assume that they're still going to try and do that. Of course, the death penalty is something that the defense wants to avoid. They're going to try and get something like life in prison instead of the death penalty for this. And they hope that pleading guilty brings them a little goodwill with the jury so they are able to get a better verdict out of this. Now, like you said, this case, it brought a lot of attention inside the courtroom. In fact, almost all of the women, especially in the courtroom, were wearing pink. We saw a lot of pink in there. Our reporter inside, Lauren Crawford.
Yeah, there's a ton of family and support. They've been waiting for this. Right. It does. It definitely does. And guys, when I'm looking at the law. So they did make an Athena's law, but it wasn't a new law. What they did was they modified the Amber Alert. All right. So if all standard Amber Alert criteria hadn't fully been verified yet, those alerts can now be issued within a 100-mile radius of where the child went missing and the adjacent counties. Now, this allows faster, more localized alerts when a child is believed to be in danger, even before every detail is confirmed. Speed matters. In this case of Athena, investigators believe a faster alert might have increased the chances of finding her alive, you guys. So that's a big on that one. All right, let's continue.
She said that it looked like about 80% of the courtroom was wearing pink in support of Athena Strand, the 7-year-old, and the judge was okay with that. He saw no reason to have any issue with that. Now, they did just send all of the people that were outside, that were kind of witnesses to this entire trial. They just put them inside. No phones were allowed in there as well. Everyone is sitting quiet. There are some people in the media overflow room as well that are watching with us, the media in there. Like you said, opening statements did just start. We are still getting some notes. So, Danica, I'm going to send it back to you as I read some of the notes from Lauren Crawford, but we should be able to get a little bit more for you in about 30 seconds or so if you want to toss it back to me then.
Absolutely, Trevor. So you heard it there that this man, Tanner Horner, has pled guilty to capital murder. As Trevor mentioned, we're not aware of any sort of plea deal. This is just
there is no plea deal. They're in the sentencing phase, and I do want to show you the quick minute video of the body cam. Now, it's a 10-minute video of him being arrested, but I want you to really understand that this guy was a FedEx driver, like the same FedEx driver that comes to your house, my house, everybody's house. This guy just decided to do that. Maybe he saw her before. Maybe he saw her other times on a route, and he decided to do that. I don't know. But I really wanted to explain to you what happened, and I'm going to show you that. But I want you to see. I'm not sure if I need much else.
A full-on this. I'd like to go back with him as well and talk about expected to continue.
Well, really, it's the pathos argument here, Danica. It's really trying to figure out the emotion of the jury and direct their emotion.
Okay, we're not going to go to that yet. We're just not there. We don't need to. So right now we're in the sentencing phase. We're on day 2. More evidence is coming out, and I want you to see this quick minute, and then we're going to get into like the details of the case with the mom. You guys are going to get some more background into the case. See that FedEx truck? He's got a full FedEx truck, my friends, and a full FedEx outfit when he's arrested. Okay. So I don't want you to think, oh, well, it was just some contract guy that they didn't background check. No, it's a contract guy, but they didn't background check him allegedly. And he's in his FedEx uniform when he's arrested. I don't know. I don't think he's going to last in there.
Step down, turn around, face away from me, face away from me.
Oh, shit.
I smell marijuana. That's what we got. What is this? What you got in your pocket? Keys? Tanner? Okay.
And again, right after this, they give him a cigarette and he talks about the whole crime. And he goes on to say, I'll lead you to her body, which happens. All right. The guy I hired to help is 65. Why couldn't he just done his job like a normal FedEx? Well, we shouldn't have to be covering these cases. I agree. Admitting guilt does not change the horrific acts he's done. Absolutely not. And we're going to get into that. I know. All right, that was it. I'm not giving him 10 minutes of body cam. I want the family to have a little bit of say in this. And I mean, there's a lot of interviews with the stepmom, but we're gonna take you back in time right now. All right, streaming's not easy. Just ask Jay. Yeah, you got to do a bunch of different things at once, and then you still got to pay attention to chat so that people don't think that you don't want to talk to them or what have you. It's hard. It's definitely a balancing act for sure. All right, listen up.
And then on Friday, as I'm looking out my window, I see a FedEx truck and an Amazon truck down my road because they come all the time. And it came to my mind, Lord, would somebody in those trucks ever occur to do something like that? Don't know why that thought came to my mind.
Now, listen, that's how this case was solved so quickly, was by them thinking, wait a minute, what correlated with her going missing? These people also have children and they all feel safe with letting their children run outside. Okay, so you put 1 and 1 together equals 2. You find that ring cam footage and there you have it.
Saturday morning, I hear the news.
And it was horrendous news. This is little 7-year-old Athena Strand. She was reported missing from her home in Paradise, Texas on Wednesday, November 30th. Her body was found 6 miles away 2 days after she was reported missing. And yes, they do have a suspect. Tanner Lynn Horner is his name. He's been arrested and charged with kidnapping and murdering Athena. He's a contract FedEx driver who made a delivery at Athena's home.
Now, I want you guys to remember, not only did the footage from around the area capture this monster, but right in his own very truck. This guy that claims to be another person and we did this, etc., it was filming him the whole time. All they had to do was recover his footage, and lo and behold, Athena Strand was alive and well in the truck. All right. Now, if you remember this case from way back when, he abducted her, but he says he struck Athena with his truck while backing up. He claims that she was not seriously injured, but he panicked and she said she's going to tell her dad. So he took her life. Now, surveillance video from inside the FedEx truck, later recovered by investigators, show Athena inside the van, which contradicts the story, and they hear the fight, the struggle, and her fighting. All right. Athena had been staying with her father and stepmother. She reportedly had a brief argument with her stepmother earlier in the day. When her stepmother goes back to check on her, Athena's gone. She searches the property but can't find her. Athena's stepmom calls 911 at 6:41 p.m. and reports Athena missing. Deputies arrive. They search the property. The evening comes and the sheriff's county office launches a large-scale search. Now, investigators are quickly learning about a FedEx package that was delivered during the disappearance. Now, think about that in the Nancy Guthrie case as well. We saw a FedEx package that may have been decoy, and we also, or Amazon package, and we also saw another delivery at Nancy's house. Could it be somebody in the FedEx? We don't know. Now, they began tracking him down because they looked at who made the delivery and what they may have seen. All right. Now, Tanner gave investigators a false story about a green van leaving the property. But that night, investigators contact Velociter. That's the company that manages the FedEx cameras. Guys, get cameras. Get cameras and the service, please. Okay, now in that recovery of video, they received 2 video clips from Tanner's truck recorded from that afternoon. And lo and behold, in the footage, Athena is seen alive inside of the truck, confirming that she was in fact taken by him. Now, the discovery triggers an urgent manhunt for Tanner, and it continues. By December 1st, the day after, investigators locate him, and he's in a different FedEx truck. Now, he's detained and questioned. He confesses that Athena's dead, but he says he strangled her after panicking. He led authorities towards the general area where her body would later be found. That's the day after. Then 2 days later, Athena's body is recovered 9 miles from her home near Boyd, Texas. Tanner's arrested and charged with capital murder and aggravated kidnapping. Now we start the trial. Monday it started, and now he pled guilty in the very beginning. We're in the sentencing phase, and everything's going to be put out there.
Here's what the Wise County Sheriff is saying. We knew early on in the investigation that there had been a FedEx driver that had made a delivery at the house about the same time that little 7-year-old Athena came up missing. We think Athena died within just an hour or so of her departure from her home. Had to be absolutely terrifying for that little girl. And our thoughts are with the family tonight and everyone. Still with us, David Katz and Manuel Gomez joining us now also in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, and columnist of Inside the Criminal Mind. Dr. Carol Lieberman is with us.
Now, I'm very surprised that there wasn't more coverage of this back then. So I just took a little trip down memory lane and grabbed this clip from 3 years ago when this first happened. That was the most detail that I was able to get from that time without playing 27 different clips. Holly is a member for 13 months. Thank you. And our lovely mod. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Dr. Lieberman, let me start with you because there's an alleged confession from this killer. So I'm trying to understand this. I'm trying to understand. Is this someone who is just wired so completely wrong that it was just a matter of time, or someone that maybe has done this before that we need to look at? What makes someone who's working as a FedEx driver to just make a delivery, see a 7-year-old and say, oh, I need to abduct and kill this innocent child?
Well, I think it was a crime of opportunity. First of all, I don't think he set out that morning to look for a 7-year-old necessarily. She was really adorable. And what's particularly interesting is that there's a woman who's come forward named Shay Marie.
All right, there's Shay Marie. She's introduced into the case. Thank you so much more for being a member for 21 months. Definitely been a long haul. All right, there's Shay Marie. Shay Marie, we found back there. I believe that's on Instagram. Shea Marie is telling the whole world that they didn't pay attention when she said that he attacked her sexually. Okay. Family. So she's pissed that they didn't take her seriously. And he goes on to kill Athena Strand. Okay. He could have been locked up, but they didn't do what they should have done. So that's Shea Marie on the bottom right. That's from her. That's the message. That's the person that's also saying he's committed other crimes and you didn't pay attention. All right, let's continue.
Who is alleging that he raped her when she was 16 years old in 2014. And she looks, what's really chilling is that she looks very much like Athena, an older version of Athena. So, so I think that's part of it, that he has. If that's true, that he has this in his background. And what's really sad is that if she had told police, she told authorities, and she's been writing about this, on social media and so on for years. And it's sad that he wasn't stopped at that point.
Yeah, anytime I see a case like this, I never think it's like the first time that someone like this has done something like this, whether it's we're in a matter of escalation or just a.
Right. Again, he tried that with a 16-year-old. So maybe he couldn't control an older woman, female child. So he decided to go for a younger one. Now, again, I got to remind you, she fought like that of 100 men. Very, very strong. That means there's a lot of wounds and blunt force trauma to her because she fought back. All right. But she did.
Continuation. But David Katz, you're in Woodlands, Texas.
Sorry.
I don't know how close that is or far away it is from Paradise, Texas. But something like this really, really strikes at the heart of a community like this.
I find it very, very difficult to talk about it. I think most of us do. I in no way believe that this is his first time out committing an act of violence. I think once they get into it, they're going to find a lot more. I note that he was a contract driver, so my first thought was, okay, how do they vet these people? Did they look into his background? Was he given a psychological?
A lot of times they don't even do background checks. The contract company is supposed to do the background checks, and many times they just haven't got caught yet. All right, so that's what we're going to say now. That's where we are. Deborah says, I left my DNA. Did you? Thank you. Johnny, for all the love. What's up, man? Thank you for the prayers. We need justice for Athena Strand. And now you guys can go and watch the trial. Do we know all the states that this garbage has been? We don't. I
don't know, because it's, there's no way that a person with that kind of compulsive, sick behavior is on that route that morning, and it just, in that one particular case, succumbs to that drive. That's happened before, and I think as we look into his background more, we're going to find some evidence of that.
Yeah, Manuel Gomez, I think that's the next. Obviously they're going to work to put all the pieces together to prosecute him for this, but at this point, you've got to start looking at some of the unsolved cases that are out there as well, and find out where this guy has been.
I agree, and that's what it looks like my wrench is going for. Do we know anything about him? And the background checks are easy to evade. A lot of times they'll ask for a background check and they'll say, well, you do it and send it over. You can do anything and say anything you want on those background checks. Not only that, especially if it's through a contract company, it's nobody's real fault except for his. There's no way that anybody could have anticipated this type of thing happening. All of us think that we're, oh, hey, driver, hey, UPS man, how you doing? They're friendly. That's how we think of them. We don't even think that they're going to do something like that. So it wasn't UPS. No, it's not. UPS usually has standards to be an employee, right? And I don't know how much UPS contracts their work out. That's actually a major difference.
Ben.
You're right. And the problem with this is, like the psychiatrist said, I don't think this is I don't think it's his first time. I think he's done this to other people as well. There's no doubt in my mind, because one, this child, now as she's pointed out, the strange similarity between the possible rape victim and the child. And second, unfortunately right now we have a a pandemic of missing children happening throughout this country. In the United States alone, in 2022, over 100,000 children have went missing. And I hope that all the parents in America look at this case and realize you can't leave your kids unattended, even if they're in front of your house, even if it's in front of a gated, closed-in enclosure in front of your house. You have to have eyes on them all the time, or have them in the back.
Man, even in the back, you can't trust anybody nowadays. It's terrible. It's not good. But if we think that way, then yeah, Vinny's thinking like you exactly. We definitely want everybody to think like that. Cooking with Mr. Good Looking. It's Alex. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing? And Patricia, NY, always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping in. Don't forget to hit that like button.
You cannot have them in front, and it's sad. And I hope everyone takes this as a lesson because it's heartbreaking. And my condolences go out to this family.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, do you think someone like this, again, if he is the one who is responsible, there's an alleged confession here, sought out this type of work? You know, we always talk about pedophiles.
Now, I want you to understand that this is no longer an alleged confession. He's pled guilty. He is sitting there at the table with the jurors and the judge presenting evidence under the guilty. That's the verdict, all right? He took himself straight to guilty. Now it's the penalty phase where they're going to give all of the evidence to get him on death row.
Sometimes trying to become a coach or, you know, some sort of position like that where they can get to children. I wonder if when he's looking for some work, he's like, oh, this could be an opportunity. I just go from house to house to house. Sooner or later, I'm going to come across someone, and I've got this great truck that I could just, throw them in.
Well, but that is kind of the chances of meeting a child aren't as good as, let's say, working at the park, for example, as a cleaner at the park. Or, there are other jobs where you might have more chance. But he's a very interesting guy because his Facebook account, for example.
And I showed you that earlier. It's all about him. It's all about him trying to be cool, him trying to fit in. Remember, he's on YouTube as well. He has subscribers and he follows people and he puts out videos that children would watch. Anybody would watch, but children particularly. Now, he doesn't actually have a lot on his Facebook. I don't know what if they deleted something. It does say that he says Aspie, non-neurotypical musician, metalhead, love is stupid, and not to mention completely asinine is what his bio says. It also says he's been in a relationship since 1991, and Alien Romulus is his language. Interesting, not so much.
He describes himself as an Aspie, which is a form for Asperger's. He's talking about that. Well, this would indicate that he thinks, in any case, that he has Asperger's, which is high functioning autism. And he says Aspie, non-neurotypical, musician, metalhead, love is stupid, and not to mention completely asinine. He has a number of posts that seem to show that he was very hurt by love.
Now, those posts are gone now. I showed you the Facebook portion of it, and everything's pretty wiped out. He didn't wipe his YouTube out, however. And guys, right now I'm going to gift a membership. So if you would, make sure you drop a comment and hit the like button to give you a better chance. All right. Thank you guys for being here. We've been here for 2 hours. We're almost done, guys. Class will be dismissed soon. All right. My Wrench says, unfortunately, I met several child predators during my childhood. They come from all walks of life. Yeah, you can't tell. You can't tell a monster that doesn't look like a monster. We don't know. And nowadays we just have to assume everybody's that way.
He also has pictures of a baby, presumably his baby, about 1 year old, that he has on his Facebook. Could be somebody else's baby, but so he's a very complicated man. Now, is he going to use, or is his defense attorney going to use Asperger's, if he does have Asperger's, as a, for psychological defense? Probably. But he'd have to prove that that was true.
Now, I want you to remember, this episode that we're watching right now was 3 years ago when this first happened. All right. Yeah. Asperger's. Hey, Diamond Ring Girl. Good to see you. I just think he was a loser demon, probably done all kinds of crappy, awful things, but I don't think he did this on a whim. I don't either. I absolutely think that he coveted something. He coveted that little girl's house and he saw her a few times, and that's why he went back. Karina, welcome to chat.
So I don't know if he picked that job necessarily, but I think he's very complicated and not in a good way.
Yeah, well, we do know in Texas they do still have the death penalty, so we'll see what prosecutors do in this one. Our guests are staying with us. We're going to talk more about what happened in Texas. We have more to show you.
All right, let's get past this. There's another. Wait, who's this?
I can't see how he can sit here and deliver people's stuff.
All right, there it is.
He's evil. There's nothing nobody can say or do to bring her back. But I can't see how he can sit here and deliver people's stuff and just take off. It's not. There's no words for it.
Neighbors of the murdered 7-year-old girl who was allegedly abducted and murdered by a driver hired by FedEx. He is now in custody, allegedly has confessed to all of this. But I want to read a Facebook post. This is from Maitland Presley Gandy, who is little Amanda's mother, Athena's mother. I'm sorry.
Okay, you guys finally get to hear from the mother. Again, there's a lot of different versions. It's been a while. It took 3 years to get to trial. So we've got 20-minute statements by the parents. We've got the stepmom. We've got a lot of people in the neighborhood, etc., that have talked out since then. Right now, I'm trying to focus solely on justice for Athena Strand by telling the story. So I'm not going too deep into one subject, right? Just the subject is of this little angel. May she rest in peace. Gorgeous little girl, guys. And it's hard. It's hard to even cover this case for me, seeing that little girl. All right, let's continue.
All right. Take a listen. I want the world to know my baby, my first true love, the reason I breathe. This is Athena in our home in Oklahoma when she was 3. I'm not sure why it popped up on my Facebook now, but I love my daughter beyond words, and I will always love her. I cannot describe the pain and absolute anger I feel. Missing her doesn't cover how I feel. My daughter's name is Athena Presley Monroe Strand, which she would happily announce to anyone listening. And anyone not listening, she would make listen. My princess was taken from me from a sick, cruel monster for absolutely no reason. Athena is innocent, beautiful, kind, intelligent, and just the brightest, happiest soul you could ever meet. I don't want her to be the girl known as the one murdered and discarded by a monster. I want everyone to know, every single person in the world, that this is my baby, and my baby was taken from me. I want everyone to know her face and her voice and just how wonderful.
She's so beautiful, guys. It's just hard. It's hard. They're all beautiful, but it's just heartbreaking to hear this statement from her mom and see those pictures of a vulnerable little girl. Yeah, I don't know about the baby at all. I don't have the name or any of that. We saw the mom. I saw her. Maybe we do know. I just haven't looked back at that to get deep enough. All right.
Of a person she is.
Let me see.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, I don't know how mom recovers from this.
Really, really heartbreaking. You know, one of the things she also wrote was about when Athena was born, or when she was growing up, the biological mother and father said to each other about how beautiful she was, and they were worried about her because of that. In other words, that she would be very tempting to a monster. What's also hard for the biological mother is that the daughter Athena had a fight with her stepmother, where the stepmother said, we had a little bit of an argument. And apparently that was this has happened before, times before, where then Athena runs out into the front or runs away in any case. And so, you know, it's so hard. And she was supposed to go back to her biological mother for Christmas. And she was supposed to be with her father and stepmother for the school term, the fall term, and then go back to her mother for Christmas. I mean, you know, of course, the biological mother is, you know, questioning herself and thinking, oh, why did I let her go there? And if she had been with me, you know, people do that. When a loved one dies, they just ask themselves, well, I should have done this or I should have done that. I mean,
she's so cute, you guys. It's so hard to cover this. Okay, listen, I want you to realize, however, that this case happened within minutes. Okay? Minutes. Not hours, not half an hours, not days, minutes. Athena got into a little tiff with her stepmom, went outside to play like she normally does, and the FedEx driver came by, dropped the package, snatched her. All right. Now, this suspect was somebody families like you and me typically trust. The evidence that they have includes the audio of him committing the crime of strangulation and blunt force trauma. This is one of the most disturbing cases that I've seen presented in court, and the evidence is hard to get past, guys. Now, her mom has made public statements about Christmas and the heartbreak of Athena not getting to open her gift, or what if she didn't order that gift? All right, we'll hear from her.
Yes, it just makes it that much more painful.
Those images that you just saw from moments ago, that's from earlier this evening. The vigil that is taking place, court TV cameras are there. And wow, look at all the whole community coming together. Speaks volumes about you should be able to live in a place like that and it should be safe. And for this little girl, it wasn't. David Katz, you alluded to this a little bit, but you do corporate security. Is there a way for a company to screen someone to find out?
Of course there is. There's got to be, but now we got to add to the list. Thank you, Mom. Rest in peace, Athena. Now we have to add to the list to be careful for Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, DoorDash, FedEx, UPS. How many other things now since 2020, since COVID hit? How many people now order their groceries, Amazon shopping, etc.? All right. I know. She's such a little angel.
To make sure you're not hiring a potential pedophile, sex offender, potential killer. Are there things that corporate America can do, especially when you're in a business where your employees are, out in the public?
First of all, nothing is foolproof. We know that because we've had people in sensitive law enforcement positions who've turned out to be horrific monsters as well. You certainly do a background investigation, particularly interviews of people who know you, because people who are smart enough to make these psychological profiles, like, you consider yourself a person of average motivation, less than average motivation. I mean, you can game these. I don't care how many times they ask you the same question. If you're a creature like this, you may be able to game that. So you want to get a sense about the person from other people. There's a lot of restrictions on the use.
I think that's a good name to call him, is a creature, all right? That's all he is. He's nothing more than a waste of human space. He wastes the air that he breathes.
A polygraph equipment these days, they don't let you do that as readily as they used to. The answer is yes, but they're not foolproof.
All right. Again, our thoughts are with the family. And
all right, we're going to listen to the mom real quick. I got to show the mom speaking about the vigil. Remember that we are here for justice for Athena Strand. This happened with just minutes, within minutes of him delivering the package and her being on that camera, on that dash cam footage with him in the truck. Yes, he's an absolute monster. And yes, I did as well too. We played outside. That's what we did. We played outside. I climbed trees, chased the squirrels, went into the little ponds or rivers and played with the tadpoles. We had fun being outside. And now people get criticized when they don't have their kids out enough outside. Oh, bring them. They shouldn't be on the computer. Yeah, it's dangerous there too, but it's dangerous just to go outside. Look what this guy did. This was 3 years ago. And now that COVID is over, everybody's still doing deliveries. Damn it. Yeah, I have to ride bikes after the lights came on. Everybody does. That's the bottom line. This monster especially took away not only Athena Strand's life, but he took away a lot of other things and a lot of other people, the trust, the community. I'm sure that community is broken over this. And we should be too. We should be, let this be a lesson. Look at this guy. I mean, he doesn't look like a monster. He looks like a weirdo, but he doesn't look like a monster. Now that I see him, but you know what I mean? All right, this is Athena's biological mom during the vigil.
18 of my favorite 6 and 7-year-olds that are sad and hurting because they no longer have a friend and classmate.
For the first time, we are hearing from North Texans who truly knew Athena Strand. That was her first grade teacher addressing the devastating loss for her peers. It was a week ago today when the Amber Alert went out following Athena's disappearance.
10 days later, investigators would discover that she had been abducted and killed. This morning, we are waiting for updates in this case. As we say good morning to Cleo Green, following the story with us in studio. And Cleo, we have seen quite a bit of support for Athena's family all week.
Yes, Mark, 100%. You know, there have been vigils across North Texas. One was held in Fort Worth last night, another in Wise County, where thousands of people showed up. We do have a closer look at that video here for you to see as thousands of people showed up last night.
That is a giant vigil, you guys. We haven't seen much of that. Mab says, peace. Are you going off to film right now, Mr. Mab? Let us know so everyone can go watch your chat. Sale hounds. I'm glad you guys are here. We're almost done. I just wanted to properly present this case as the trial goes into the sentencing phase. I wanted you guys to understand what happened to this little girl and just give some more reach. It's all over the internet right now. It's all over YouTube. But if I couldn't find it and I was having trouble getting a complete story, I figured you guys would be too. All right. So we're just about going to wrap this up.
Outside of First Baptist Church in Cottondale for that candlelight vigil and church service to remember Athena. Several chairs lined the front of a stage here for service, each holding a large photo of that little girl. And for the first time, her mother spoke publicly, sharing a heartfelt message.
I don't know how to thank you guys for all that y'all have done for my family, but especially for my baby. I just want to keep her face and her story alive because I want everyone to know Athena, for Athena, and not for what someone tried to make her out to be. Because she's the best little girl. She really was.
I want to mention that that vigil last night in Wise County was held at the church where volunteers, law enforcement, and Strand's family found refuge during long searches for the little girl. And now this family awaits justice and more clarity. This morning, Tanner Horner, he remains behind bars, charged with Strand's capital murder. He also faces an aggravated kidnapping charge. Police say they are still building a case against him, so there is no new information this morning. I also want to mention that our reporter, Matt Howerton, was at one of those vigils last night, and he got a chance to speak to so many people, asking them why are they here. They didn't know the Strand family, right? And they said, listen, little Athena could have been their child, and that's why they're there to support. I'll send it back to you, Kara.
Yeah, and we can understand that. Thank you, Cleo.
All right. Bottom line, guys, and the mom's out there. She talks quite a bit. I'm grateful for all of the interviews that she had. Athena Strand, latest mother grandfather post emotional message. Well, let's take a look at this, and then we'll wrap it up.
A community in Wise County, northwest of Fort Worth, is coming to grips with a nightmare. A contract FedEx driver allegedly kidnapped and murdered 7-year-old Athena Strand. School districts across Texas are asking
This is a very heartbreaking case, and I just want to make sure you understand what's happening as well. Good to see you, Sale Hounds. It's just crazy. It took over 3 years to go to trial. And you know why? It's because the death penalty, when you're putting a death penalty case together, and you've got to have a defense for it, there's a lot you got to do. There's a lot of crossing T's and dotting I's. Otherwise, you end up in the Letitia Stout trial with a redo. And then the family has to do it all over again. All right? So they want to make sure they get it right. That's Athena. That's Athena Strand. 7 years old. Life was gone way too soon. May she rest in peace.
everyone to wear pink tomorrow because pink was Athena's favorite color. Events are also scheduled this week to honor the little girl's life. The suspect, Tanner Horner, is charged with capital murder and aggravated kidnapping. WFA's Morgan Young is in the newsroom now. So Morgan, what are you learning tonight?
Well, Teresa, as we wait for court documents to be released with more details on this case, some of Athena's family members are posting their reactions to social media. Tonight, we are sharing some of their messages of anger, hurt, even forgiveness, and getting some more perspective about what could come next.
This is a very tight-knit community. The response from the community of how they were out searching for this little girl and responding.
Attorney Michelle Simpson-Teagle says it's just what people do.
See, we didn't go through any of this because this was 3 years ago. Nothing happened. This case died down, and now the trial began. All right. Now, yeah, Letitia Stout tore up her brother's heart. She tore up everybody in that courtroom, and she didn't even give two shits about it. The fact that she's planning on having another trial speaks volumes of her, right?
In Wise County, where she's from.
Families that I know this family.
A family left to grapple with horrific loss. Athena's mother posted to Facebook, thanking everyone who searched for her. She also wrote, "No one deserves what happened to you, but especially you. I love you, and love doesn't even cover it. Mommy is broken without you."
I think people start to think of these cases and they draw interest in a way like it's a true crime podcast. And, this is a little girl who, has parents and siblings and who was at school last week. And I would just hope that people remember that she's a person.
Teagle has represented families in cases like these. She says as more information, including an official autopsy, is released, the search for answers and justice will be hard and layered.
This is a crime, and there was a horrible intentional act that was done here.
I mean, look at where the mailboxes are in perspective of the road and the house. That area is one of the areas that you should be able to live on and let your kid run on the property. Yeah, I know, Mab. He should have got SA charges, but they weren't able to really prove it because she was in the water for a couple of days and naked. So all of the evidence was washed off of her. There was no way for them to really prove that. And I'm almost glad they don't do that, because then we'd have to hear about it. I don't want to hear about that. I really don't want to read about it or any of that. My heart always hurts for the predator and the murder. They're innocent victims too. The predator and for the family. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, Clark, what happened here? Yes, you corrected. I was about to say.
Here. But the second part of this, beyond the criminal prosecution, will also involve looking beyond just the crime and who else could be responsible.
In a statement, FedEx said the company is cooperating with this investigation and clarified Horner was a third-party contractor when he was delivering a package to Athena's home the day he is accused of abducting her.
I fully expect they'll make those kinds of statements to try to protect themselves, but really it's going to come down to control and whether they did their work in checking and making sure they had safety protections.
Athena's mother posted Tanner Horner's mugshot, stating, "This is the monster that took my baby from me and this world. You will know her name, Tanner." Athena's grandfather posted, "There's not 1 ounce of my flesh that wants to do this or say this, but my spirit has heard God's voice. And right now, while tears flood my eyes, I declare publicly that I forgive this man. Hate will not win."
And she's right. Carrying the hate around or stopping your life completely isn't going to bring Athena back. All right. I sirened. I said, no. All right. It was not in a body. It was not in the body was not in a lake. It was a river southeast of Boyd, Texas. So I don't know what the rivers are like, but it wasn't a river, and she was very close to the bank, we'll say. Very close in, face down. He didn't put much effort, it seems like. He even says in his video, or in his interrogation, he says, I kind of just threw her into the bushes. All right. He didn't tie her up or do any, he didn't do any of that. He just tossed her out like a piece of garbage. I hope that's how he gets treated.
He goes on to say, "I do this to honor our precious Athena, who knew no hate. Love conquers all and forgives. Today, I choose love and hate loses."
Amen, Athena.
The public is invited to a candlelight vigil Tuesday to...
All right, so that was a long time ago. You guys know the drill. Hit that like button and let's get this out into the algorithm. If you see the hype option, please hype the video. And now day 2 has just closed of the penalty phase in this trial, right? Yesterday, this monster pled guilty after the opening statements, and now with the penalty phase, all of the evidence is coming out. So you guys can go and go watch it if you want. Now you can go. Grizzly True Crime is covering it, and a lot of news stations. You don't have to forgive to not hate. This forgiveness thing is getting out of hand. They're not forgiven. not a chance. You're just not carrying them anymore. That's all. Well, that's an individual preference. If you want to forgive or not forgive, or be angry or not be angry, or carry it or not, that's a very personal option for you, for him, for them, for her, for me. Very personal. I'm not going to say what you should or shouldn't do. So appreciate the comment, but this is what the buzzer needs its batteries replaced. What? You don't hear it? It does. I just got it. Baby Guilty just got it for me right now. See? No, it's not. It doesn't need batteries. Now, Patricia says, I'm not a big forgiver. I feel good about it. And that's fine. Whatever it takes for you to get to your peace, your ultimate peace, do what you got to do. Don't go back to work. Don't forgive. Do whatever. I mean, it's individual preference. All right, guys, you're very welcome. Thank you guys for being here. This is new. So now I got a new toy to play with until the batteries run out and I can say, no, wrong. Yeah, I just didn't have the speaker on the top. You hear it now? All right, guys. Thank you guys so very much. You know what? I was supposed to gift a membership. I'm going to gift a membership on the way out. Thank you guys. I forgot to gift a membership. I don't like that. So here you go. Hopefully you guys get a membership. I will be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And there you go. Somebody just got a Guilty of Crime membership. All right. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for all the people that stopped by, Flojo TV, Mab Investigates, and everybody else. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. I'll be back here tomorrow at 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern. Thank you. Love you all. Be safe and watch out for those damn delivery drivers. Mwah. See you tomorrow.
Guilty of Crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of Crime.
Are you guilty?